I had listened to the new record actually several times in my car, kind of driving to and from preschool to pick up my son. And I've become quite a fan of it, but I was reading the notes about it on your site, and what I hadn't noticed until I read your notes was that there's no drums.
No drums.
On the record.
No.
There's some percussion. There's the
right.
shaker and a couple of little things going on, but there's no drums. I mean, were you mad at your drummer? Were there was some other reason you decided to kind of cut that out of the scope for this project?
It was a conscious thing to do, and the part of the reason was the modesty of the project.
Yeah.
I knew from the outset I wasn't going to put liner notes in it, so
Okay.
there wasn't going to be a lyric sheet.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to make sure that the lyrics were understood.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're working with a band with drums, in the mixing process, there's always a tug of war between the snare, the kick, and the vocals, because they're working in the same territory, in the same sonic territory.
Okay.
You know, and so there's often a fight for the lyrics to be heard, and I didn't want to have that fight.
Right.
And I had done lots of other albums in which there's a high percussive element. So just as a change, I wanted to sort of do it folky this time.
Right.
I have no great allegiance to folk traditions, I assure you.
Right.
But this was just one way. And again, in terms if you're cutting out a facet, it's a facet that I've only done once before.
Oh, yeah.
So, in that sense, people are going, "Oh, wow, this is something different."
Well, I mean, I didn't notice it, but after I read this and I went back and listened to it, I was like, okay, I could definitely tell a difference, and yeah, it definitely had a more a folky feel.
It does, yeah,
and a little more, I guess, even live feel. I think really too.
I think so, and I think it also leaves more room for the guitar to be heard. All these things, whenever when you have a larger ensemble, each instrument is taking up so much room.
Yeah.
And if you want the album to sort of live and breathe, the less elements, the more you can hear them.
Right.
Each one.
And there's also some very subtle background vocals in it too.
Yeah.
Which may have been more drowned out, I guess, if there was more.
That's right.
Volume elsewhere.
That's right. I mean, you can do it. Certainly, lots of albums are done that way. But again, it doubles the time of mixing and all those things. And so, because I one of the challenges was to do this album not as inexpensively as I could, but as well as I could without compromising and yet not killing myself.
Right.
In this time of, like, right now, who knows, if the CD format is even going to exist next year.
Well, and it's a wonderful segue to the next question I wanted to ask you. You've always been kind of an album guy. I mean, again, 35 of them.
And counting.
I mean, come on. But is the album format something you're gonna? I mean, are there other elements or other modes of releasing the music that you're thinking about? I mean, in this digital age, in terms of being more singles or EPs or different kinds of formats.
I don't know. I may be one of the dinosaurs of the paradigm.
Yeah.
Change that's going on. I don't know. I mean, there's also a backlash too, where people are now releasing vinyl again. Yeah. So there's some resistance to it. I don't know. Right now, the shake-up is, we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And the odd thing, I was talking to some musician friends. It's sort of like nobody told us. Nobody told us that there wouldn't be CD ports on computers anymore.
Right.
Nobody told us
that
there weren't going to be CD players in cars anymore.
Right.
Nobody told us, and yet we're still going to the studios and putting out a product that
people can't play.
Yeah. So we're in a bit of a conundrum right now, and for some. It's an opportunity. It just depends, how fleet of foot you are.
Yeah.
And if you want to be.
Right. Right.
You know, it's a strange period. I mean, when movies came out that threatened theater,
Yeah.
and then theater rebounded because there are things you can do
It's a
live
different
that you will just.
experience, right?
It's a different experience,
Yeah.
and so I think we're in a similar situation now.
Did you notice? I ask a lot of people, especially people who kind of survived the Napster period. Did you notice a serious dip in sales of your physical material when the file sharing thing really happened?
No, I didn't.
No?
I didn't because of my demographic.
Oh, okay.
The demographic sort of had some allegiance to the format that they had made the transition once from
Right.
albums to CDs.
Right. You
And
weren't
so
about to jump in again.
no, or they're just Luddites who couldn't.
Right.
You know, one of the two. But there's also another sort of something became involved in that too, in that there was an active support for almost like a social responsibility to stick with the artist and what they were presenting.
Yeah.
So in my demographic, people continued to buy the albums. Now, since that time, CD sales in record stores or distribution or off my website have dropped precipitously,
Right.
but have been made up in some ways by CD Baby.
Right. Right.
So, and people, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I was surprised that CD Baby actually works. You know,
Right.
that I get my 0.0 cents from Spotify or
Right.
you know whatever's happening. You know,
Right. Right.
but it has changed. It's certainly changed from, you know, sort of being one of the first independents to put out an album in Canada
Right,
to
right,
this, to where
right,
we are now.
right.
And in some sense, it's exciting. In other ways, I think it's a royal waste of time.
Yeah.
Spent the amount of time spent on Facebook and sending your stuff out. I just find it
Yeah.
dreadful.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like a government downloading everything to the city
Right.
to do it, so that they don't have to do it. And
Yeah.
so you know, and also the culture of the record store. And you know, I sound old and all that, but there was a culture there,
There
and
was,
a neat thing that went on with
Mhm.
that purchase of the album that you took under your sleeve
Yeah.
and took it home. The artwork too.
No,
But I
I've
sound
always been
sound like Neil Young or something like that.
We'll get him on the review in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
See what he thinks.
Yes,
Neil Young,
I'm sure.
invitation.
I'm sure he'll have an opinion.
I'm sure. Well, I mean, I've always been. I have a big record collection at home. I've always been a fan, and I miss. Here in town, there were some really great record shops that just aren't there anymore. There's still
It's
a
true.
few that are standing, but mostly they sell toys and games and stuff now. It's a very different market.
Yes, it is. I don't expect the other times to return.
Yeah.
I don't know quite what's ahead. To be honest with you, I sort of
Yeah.
feel fortunate in a way that I'm drawing to the end of my career in that sense.
Right.
You know, and if I do put something out, well, I can just put it out. It's
Yeah.
so easy.
Yeah.
Doing an album's much more difficult than just dropping an MP3
Yeah.
out into the world.
Yeah.
You know, but it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
So you said earlier that you've got your next project is Songs of Labrador.
Yeah, it's the completion of the Four Coast project. I
Oh, right.
started with Superior,
Mhm.
then the Rain Coast project, then the Arctic, and then Labrador.
Fantastic. And when do you expect that to be hitting CD Baby? I was going to say store shelves, but
I don't know. I've got some projects as a producer to do for some other people and some soundtracks for plays
Yeah.
in the fall. So I think it would be late November, early December that I'd start work on it. And I'm going to involve some people from Newfoundland as well.
oh, good,
Yeah.
great.
So people like Daniel Payne,
Mhm.
he's a great fiddler. The people, some of the members of a group called the Once,
Mhm.
I hope will be on it. So
Cool.
to just spend some time down there.
Okay, excellent. Well, how about we have one more to take us out? What song would you like to?
Well,
finish us off with?
I'm going to Scotland on Friday to guide, and so I'll do a song that I wrote on the island of Gia called Bluebells of Gia.
Bluebells of Gia.
Yeah.
All right, Ian Tamblyn, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Walk in the woods, the spring of the year, golden green light shining through. There in the glade, golden shade, bluebells again were in bloom. Down the path, children were laughing, playing a game home from school. I went back with them, I was playing along with the bluebells of Gia in bloom. And beyond is the ocean, gorse on the hill. There's a calm here, I know that is true. High over fields, the skylark is singing low. Bluebells of Gia were in bloom. Now I think of Scotland and I think of these times. I know in my heart I'll be blue. As the sea is the sky, is this time passing by. Bluebells of Gia and you. Bluebells of Gia were in bloom. And beyond is the ocean, gorse on the hill. There's a calm here, I know it is true. High over fields, the skylark is singing. Bluebells of Gia are in bloom now. When I think of Scotland, when I think of these times, I know in my heart I'll be blue. Sea and the sky and this time passing by. Bluebells of Gia and you. The bluebells